We are the largest grade A milk producers in Panama. So it is big business for us milk costs. This is one of the dairies, yes. This is the first dairy that we've ever had. Here he was 86.
Still very healthy.
Yeah, still drives, still sees, still works.
Oh, works even.
Yeah, because he insists. He gets bored. And if he doesn't work, like he picks up coffee. Every day during harvest, he drives coffee. Keeps him active. It's important to do things. My son is 27 and my daughter is 25. And my son studied literature. My daughter is biology, genetics. My major was psychology at university.
I saw you are majoring in marketing.
No, I wish I had. Sales, marketing, and quality control. Daniel's general manager. He's in charge of me. He's my boss. This is my favorite lot here. It's called Bosque. And normally it's very, very fruity and very floral and very like jammy. This one. But this year we had so little of it and it wasn't as good as other years. I was a little bit disappointed. But normally this is my favorite. Now we just bought a new farm. You see those gates going up that way. So maybe next time you come, I'll take you up that way. We're just planting it in coffee now. I don't know what the final name will be. We call it manantial, which means spring, I guess. Manantial, it's like a water spring. Last year we had about 3,000 times 100 in pounds. 7 containers more or less, which is less than we used to have. We used to have 10 to 12 containers a year. But it's a very hard year. It makes me sad when there's...
How much the quantity you should submit to the...
You need to submit 150 pounds. Because 100 will go to the auction, and 50 pounds will be for the national cupping, the international cupping, and the samples for the buyers. It's not a lot. Compared to other countries, it's a very small quantity, but when you work with micro lots, it's a lot. But even Portugal, like Dardo this year, he didn't submit. He didn't have... I always prioritize competition. This is what I told him. You should have said to those clients, sorry, I don't have coffee for you this year. You should always be in Best of Panama. Best of Panama is important.
Yes.
Daniel and I choose, this one will be private collection, and this one will be auction, this one will be BOP, this one, blah, 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 like that. I mean, at the beginning, our first auction was in 2008, our first private auction. That year we put all of our geisha in the auction. And then the second year, maybe we're like, okay, now maybe we have too much coffee, so we sold some of it outside of the auction. And then little by little, it was like less and less for the auction, and then we started separating. And we started learning more about geisha too. So you start cupping and you're like, okay, well, maybe this one is worth less money and we'll put this one here, and like that. It was a whole process. The blue label was becoming a problem for me. The blue label was, the problem was that it was so much cheaper than the private collection that people were deciding to buy it because it didn't cost very much money, and it was bringing down the name of Esmeralda. It was not good for my marketing. So I said, I'm getting rid of it. Yeah, we have given seed to people all over the world, and some places have very good flavors come from it, like Bolivia, for example, the high elevation Bolivia. But some places like Costa Rica, not so much. It's strange because Costa Rica is right here. You would think it would taste really good, but I don't know.
So how do you think about the additives?
No, I don't think that I've ever tasted an additive that I thought made the coffee better, but that might be just me because I haven't tasted a lot of coffees with additives. But the additive always makes it taste like something weird. It just doesn't taste like coffee anymore. I think coffee should taste like the bean of coffee that you harvested, like the bride. I'm very much opposed to adding things that will change the flavor. But having said that, I do work with yeast, and I do think that yeast is positive for coffee. But then again, yeast is something that coffee produces naturally. It's part of, during any fermentation, there is going to be yeast. The only thing is, I decide which yeast I want. So I add a yeast because I want that yeast to be the predominant yeast. But I don't add add sugar. I don't add anything else. I don't add anything that's foreign to coffee. One time here in Panama, we did a company. There was a category called innovation. 2 people put in cinnamon, and one of them was horrible. With so much cinnamon, there was like, ugh. But another one put in cinnamon that tasted kind of good. We ended up everybody ended up fighting, and we removed the category because one of the head judge gave 0 points to that coffee, and the producer got upset and said, "Well, the head judge's points shouldn't count." We said, "But he has to. He's the judge." We ended up fighting so much, so we said, "No more. Forget that category."
I remember that time. Have some mango.
Yes, the mango one, which was very delicious. That was pochos. But then I don't think that is the future. When we talked about innovation, we were talking about innovative ways to process without adding things, and everybody else thought, "Oh, let's add stuff." I don't know why. I have clients that come here and say, "I don't even understand why you do natural coffee. The coffee's so beautiful. Why do you do something like anaerobic to it?" And I say, "Well, we have buyers who want that too." But it's true, here in Panama we have these great coffees, and then we're still doing things. An anaerobic process can sometimes be so strong that it'll take away all of the attributes of the geisha, all of the attributes that make it an interesting coffee. You have to be very careful with the processing. I have gone to, so maybe 5 years ago or something, Lal Cafe invited me to France to learn about fermentation and wines, and that's when I started using their yeast, because I learned about all these different fermentations in wine and how they did it and what things were important. And then we started experimenting with yeast here, and I thought, "Oh, I like this." I work with yeast, but only to the point where you can't taste the yeast. If you over ferment with yeast, yeast has a flavor you can taste. Very, very maximum 60 hours. It's usually 48 hours only, to make sure that the yeast is not something overtaking the process.
大姐大开始收车了。Whoa, you make it!
It's a very weird.
Wow, awesome! 厉害啊，大姐大，不愧是大姐大呀。
This is luck. This year I am going to be 55. I have the same age, so I was born in 67, the same year that my grandfather bought the farm. So I am the same age as the farm.
Really? You are Esmeralda. Why it's called Esmeralda?
It is a long story, but it has to do the person who my grandfather bought the farm from was a boat captain, and he came from a place in Ecuador called Puerto Esmeralda, and he named it after that. We always talk about things like maybe setting up tourism stuff, because we have land and we have views and we could put up a coffee shop, or we could put up a hotel, or we could put up, but then we never do it because nobody has enough, I think, energy. But tourism is also Saturdays and Sundays, and so
Family day.
the mill is right next to my parents' house, and I don't want people to come knocking on their door and things like that. You know, I want their privacy to be okay.
That way will keep the secret image of Esmeralda.
And my grandfather was a banker. Well, my grandfather is Swedish. The one who bought the farm, he was born in Sweden, and he's from Sweden originally. But my father, his son, grew up in California, and my mother grew up in Pennsylvania. My mother is from the United States for sure, and I was born in Sweden. First time, I was like, I passed all of my tests. I did not take any retakes. I passed everything on the first time. I was like, coffee is a very fun business, very fun. Even many years later, I've been still doing this for more than 15 years, and I still feel that I can still get excited about it. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. Very sturdy construction. Thank you very much. I like it. Very nice. I love this type of bag. I wear this all the time. For you, 10 years is a lot. I appreciate that you stayed with us. I'm not going to say a lot because the video is long. I love the concept. I love the concept that it's perfect that you're a woman in coffee. to these amazing, so many specialty coffee shops, and then you buy all this specialty coffee, and then you're able to sell it. I think it's amazing. So thank you for spending time with me. It's a lot of work. I don't know how you're doing. I like simple processes. I like natural coffees that are clean, and I like complexity, but I like it to come from the bean itself, not from over ferments or things like that.